Hello and welcome to Confrontation Point's video Snark. I read bad books so that you don't have to. I'm continuing my read-through of Fury by Elizabeth Miles. Not the first video, go check out the others. Links are posted below. The following video might be difficult for some viewers. If you are struggling with suicidal thoughts, please reach out. People care about you. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 800-273-8255. Chapter 18. Through tears and a strangled, hysterical tone, Ty had asked Chase to meet her at the Piss Pass, the same place where Sasha jumped off at the start of the book. I see no way that this could go wrong. All the sarcasm. But another part of him, the part influenced by the knifing sadness in his chest and the memory of how it felt to look into Ty's eyes, was terrified, scared that if he did cut her out of his life, which he had every right to do, which he should do, he would lose not only her but a piece of himself. Calm down there, buddy. You've known her for like 2 weeks now. There's no reason to trash the rest of your reputation because of a girl. As he goes out there, he's conflicted. As mentioned earlier, he feels so close to her, but she betrayed his trust and tarnished his reputation. He meets Ty out on the bridge and he confronts her. In an eerily calm voice, she tells him that she's a bad person and that she should be punished. She then jumps up onto the safety railing of the bridge. Naturally, Chase instantly goes from being angry to trying to get her to come down, but as he talks to her, the image of Ty transforms into Sasha. He then has a sudden memory of how the football team had decided to play a prank on Sasha that was for him to catfish her. Chase was the head of this thing, and he maintained the account that he used to talk to her online. And for a while, he actually sort of enjoyed talking with Sasha, to the point where he forgot that it was just to get some kind of twisted revenge on her. But then she got suspicious and rejected him all over again, and the second one hurt worse than the first. Chase was already angry from that when he went out to eat with the football team. They started joking around and calling Chase their servant when he went to go get more napkins, which naturally irritated him. So he went home and decided to post the racy pictures Sasha had sent him onto the school's Facebook page. The school admins and whoever was in charge of the page took them down right away, as you can imagine. But obviously, the internet is forever. Those photos were out there. People had saved them and taken screenshots. The damage was already done. And as I'm sitting here reading all of that, there's only one thing that ran through my mind. How could you forget about something like that? Bro, that was probably like 90% of why she jumped. Although, if it's any consolation, at least Chase acknowledges how badly he messed up in posting that stuff, that he probably deserved for Ty to plaster his naked photos all over the school in retribution for what he'd done to Sasha. Chase continues to plead with Ty to come off from the railing, and goes so far as to foolishly join her on the railing himself. I see no way this could end badly. She says that she will come down if he kisses her one last time. He agrees, but the kiss feels off to him. When he pulls back, he realizes that there's something in his mouth. It's another one of those red flowers. The first was that Ty was not standing on ground. Not even her toes were touching the cold concrete of the overpass. She was hovering before him in midair. The second thing, this one even more shocking than the first, Ty was not beautiful at all. Her body was transparent, gray, papery, and he could practically see through it. Her hair looked singed, her lips looked black, her eyes were twin holes. Sometimes sorry isn't enough, she whispered. And then Ty pushes him off in the railing. His last thought as he falls is about Sasha. So yeah, that just happened. Part 3. Penitence, or the Wrath of the Furies. 'Cause why half-butt things when you can full-butt it? Chapter 19. As you can imagine, Chase didn't survive his own fall. Emily attended the memorial, which felt phony to her. By her own words, it felt like everybody was trying hard not to talk about the elephant in the room, of how the constant torment of Chase had led him to take his own life. Granted, the readers know that it wasn't a suicide, but nobody in the town knows. Emily wants to tell somebody about Ty, about how obsessed with her that Chase was in the weeks leading up to his death, but she doesn't know who to tell. Literally any adult in town. Just pick a grown-up and tell them. I'm not saying that it would resolve the supernatural plot, but a suspicious young woman hanging around would probably be of interest to somebody. In the time since Chase's death, Emily has been plagued with nightmares, where she drives out to Piss Pass and sees Chase trying to wave her down, only makes steps in front of her car, which makes her swerve to avoid a crash. As Emily thinks about everything, she knows deep down that his death was not suicide, but she doesn't know why she thinks this. She eventually gets a tiny clue in something Chase had said to her. Ty and her cousins, Meg and Allie, and Emily has now met both of them. Meanwhile, Emily has fallen from social graces at school thanks to the entire mess with Zach. And I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve this social shunning, but I think that it's rich that Gabby formed the Suicide Awareness Club while at the same time openly bullying another girl. One that the narration has made it really clear has been marked for her own tragic tumble off from his past. Emily overhears some kids talking smack about Chase, saying that he was gay and that's the reason why he jumped, which, oh no, honey, no. Those pictures were nothing but a smear campaign, and that's the reason why he jumped, not unrequited love or homophobia. Your stank attitude towards him is the cause of death. Well, from their standpoint anyway. Yeah, I know that it was the Furies. Don't come for me. But another of the boys is quick to say that you can't talk about stuff like that when somebody's body is barely in the ground. One of them brings up about how a red flower was found with the body, and that rings some bells in Emily's head. She decides to ditch the rest of the school day and goes to Chase's trailer. Following his death, his mom had left town indefinitely, which don't blame her, so Emily breaks in and looks around some. She accidentally wakes up Chase's computer where she finds his secret admirer account that he'd been using to communicate with Sasha. Naturally, Emily reads through their conversations. They touch upon some pretty heavy topics, like how if Sasha was accepted back into the popular group, she wouldn't want to leave her new less than cool friends behind. However, it seems as though Chase strung Sasha along for a little too long and she lost interest. And then Emily sees the photos that Sasha had sent, which she realizes are the exact same poses as the nude photos of Chase. What had Chase said that day in the old gym, the day he died? I'm beginning to think that people really do get what they deserve. With that in mind, Emily wonders what's in store for her, and it seems as though she's finally starting to put some of the pieces together. She knows that all of this kicked off with Sasha's suicide attempt, and I think that we're finally going to see Sasha now. Chapter 20. Emily drives to the hospital, but she stops whenever she sees movement. She's afraid that one of those girls is going to jump out in front of her. She has a tense phone call with her mom, and as Emily hangs up, she wishes that she could tell her parents about what's going on. Although, I don't know what's stopping her. She's clearly deeply upset over everything that happened. Even if you remove the supernatural element, she should still talk to her parents. She goes to the hospital where there's the actual hospital and then there's the long-term care. Inside, Emily waits until the nurse at the front desk leaves and then she just looks at the patient files, which... The HIPAA violations! However, Emily only cares about finding out Sasha's room number. She goes into the room, but the sight of Sasha lying on the bed, unmoving and unwaking, almost makes her turn around and leave. But she randomly thinks that if she confesses all of her sins to this non-responsive girl, that it'll somehow make everything better. Although at this point, it can't possibly make things worse. Emily thinks that she sees some movement near one of the monitors, but decides to press on anyway. She calls to Sasha and brushes her hand. There's a snake piece of jewelry on the side table, and Emily thinks that it's just like what Sasha's friend wears. Sasha then springs up in bed and startles Emily so badly. Ready for your turn to pay, Em? A trickle of deep red blood spilled over from Sasha's bottom lip and down her chin. Oh, that's terrifying. Sasha then collapses back into bed and... It was the machines. They were screaming. Or was that her? Beep, 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 beep. I know that this is the big dramatic moment in medical TV shows, but this isn't TV. This is a book. You couldn't have... I don't know, wrote that the machine was flatlining or emitting a solid, unchanging tone? Anyway, the doctors rush in as Emily runs from the room. She hears him saying code black and knows that Sasha just died. The contents of this book can be quite intense, I know. If you need help, please don't hesitate to reach out. People care about you. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 800-273-8255. Thanks for listening to my book Snark on YouTube. New videos are up every Monday, but stick around because I sometimes drop random videos on other days too. Just as a reminder, even if you can't financially support me, there are other ways to help me out. The first is watching this video as well as all of my other videos. It's also important to like and subscribe. Finally, you can share this video with all of your friends so that they can help as well. If you're already caught up with all of my videos, you can go to Tumblr for my main book Snarks, always free and updated every morning. And if you've already read all of my main Snarks, then you can find even more Snark on my Patreon. You can access it for $1 a month. Members also get early access to my main Tumblr Snark. Special thanks to Dawn, Phoebe, and Nikki for supporting me on Patreon already. If you want to hear your name in my video next week, you can either support me on Patreon or make a one-time donation. Do you like my Snark so much that you want me to Snark your writing? I do that too. For just $6 per chapter, I will tell you how awful that your writing is. But not to worry if you feel like you couldn't take the criticism. I also offer regular book editing as well, just 1 cent per word. You can contact me on any of my social media platforms if you have further questions. If you want to read some of the things that I've written, you can purchase my works on Amazon. I have a slew of erotic short stories and now 2 full-length novels. I also sometimes run flash sales on my stories, and if you don't follow me on any social media, you might want to do so just so you can know when I might be offering more things for free. Links for everything will be posted below. See you next week, guys!